Prince Albert II of Monaco opens an exhibition in Monacoville. King Charles III of the United Kingdom visits Kinross. And royals from Scandinavia attend a glittering gala dinner in honor of the King of Sweden's Golden Jubilee. All this and much more coming up next on your Royal Daily News. Good afternoon, everyone. I hope you're doing well, and happy Friday. My name is Alexandra, and welcome to your Royal Daily News for September 15th, 2023. Their Majesties King Carl Gustaf and Queen Sylvia of Sweden, Their Royal Highnesses Crown Princess Victoria and Prince Daniel of Sweden, Her Royal Highness Princess Estelle of Sweden, His Royal Highness Prince Oscar of Sweden, Their Royal Highnesses Prince Carl Philip and Princess Sophia of Sweden, Her Royal Highness Princess Madeline of Sweden and her husband, Mr. Christopher O'Neill, continued His Majesty the King's Golden Jubilee weekend celebrations this morning in Stockholm. The day began with members of the Swedish royal family, along with Her Majesty Queen Margrethe II of Denmark, Her Majesty Queen Anne-Marie of Greece, and their Royal Highnesses Crown Prince Frederick and Crown Princess Mary of Denmark, visiting the grave of the late King Gustaf Adolf of Sweden in Hagaparken. The late Swedish king was the grandfather of King Carl Gustaf and the maternal grandfather of Her Majesty Queen Margrethe II of Denmark, Princess Benedicte of Denmark, and Her Majesty Queen Anne-Marie of Greece. Thereafter, members of the Swedish royal family and Danish royal family attended a Te Deum led by Bishop Johan Dahlman and the royal court chaplain, Father Michael, inside the royal chapel at the Royal Palace in Stockholm. Guests attending the service included the President and the First Lady of Finland, the President and the First Lady of Iceland, Their Majesties King Harald V and Queen Sonja of Norway, Princess Christina, Mrs. Magnusson, and her husband, Mr. Tord Magnusson, members of Parliament, government, representatives from various religious communities, as well as current and former members of the royal court. At noon, His Majesty the King and His Royal Highness Prince Carl Philip of Sweden attended the changing of the guard in the outer courtyard of the palace. During the ceremony, the Army Music Corps, the Life Guards Dragoon Music Corps, and the Navy Music Corps performed. Thereafter, the Royal Swedish Academy of Music, along with the Swedish Radio Choir and children's and youth choirs, performed a tribute in honor of the king as members of the royal families and heads of state looked on. In the evening, His Majesty the King gave a televised speech to the people of Sweden live on SVT. In his speech, the king said, among other things, quote, "It is my hope that now and in the coming years, I can continue to serve our Sweden, in both up and down, in good times as well as in times of great challenge. A Sweden firmly rooted in its history, with a steady gaze towards a bright and happy future." End quote. Thereafter, His Majesty the King hosted a glittering gala dinner held inside the Hall of State at the Royal Palace. Guests in attendance included members of the Swedish royal family, Her Majesty Queen Margrethe II of Denmark, Her Majesty Queen Anne-Marie of Greece, the Royal Highnesses Crown Prince Frederick and Crown Princess Mary of Denmark, Their Majesties King Harald V and Queen Sonja of Norway, His Royal Highness Crown Prince Haakon of Norway, Princess Christina, Mrs. Magnusson, and her husband, Mr. Tord Magnusson. Members of Swedish Parliament, the government, representatives from industry, culture, the media, foundations, religious communities, and the Royal Court of Sweden. During the gala dinner, His Majesty the King gave a speech, and naturally, there were toasts all around. In Madrid, His Majesty King Felipe VI of Spain held an audience this morning with the new president of the region of Murcia, Mr. Fernando López Miras, at Palacio de la Zarzuela. Thereafter, the king held an audience with the new president of the autonomous community of La Rioja, Mr. Gonzalo de Miguel. His Majesty King Charles III of the United Kingdom visited lovely Kinross, Scotland, this afternoon. According to Buckingham Palace, during his visit, the king met with representatives of the charity Broke Not Broken, which runs several projects to support the local community including an independent food bank, a counseling service, energy support, family holiday support, winter clothing, and a women's group. The charity is supported by over 30 volunteers, and last year it delivered over 2,000 food parcels across Kinrossshire, supporting more than 5,000 people. His Serene Highness, Prince Albert II of Monaco, presided over the opening of the exhibition entitled Pablo Picasso and Antiquity, held at the Palais Princier in Monacoville. The exhibition is a part of the transnational event known as the Picasso Celebration 1973 through 2023. According to a press release, the year-long celebratory event revolves around 50 exhibitions held at renowned cultural institutions in Europe and in North America that, together, address a, quote, historiographical analysis of Picasso's work. The commemoration, accompanied by official celebrations in France and Spain, will make it possible to take stock of the research and interpretation of the artist's work, especially during an important international symposium in autumn 2023, which also coincides with the opening of the Center for Picasso Studies in Paris. End quote. Pablo Picasso was a master of modern art, and he was interested in Greek and Roman antiquity throughout his career. The exhibition explores some of the great classical themes and the way in which Pablo Picasso reinvented the legacy of classical antiquity. Pablo Picasso and Antiquity, organized in collaboration with the Palais Princier de Monaco and the Fundación Almina y Bernard Ruiz Picasso, under the curatorship of Miss Francesca Ferrari and scenography by Miss Cecile Degos, will be open to the public from September 16th through October 15th, 2023. After inaugurating the exhibition entitled Roman Urhausen, Still Life, in Esch-sur-Alzette yesterday morning, Her Royal Highness Hereditary Grand Duchess Stephanie of Luxembourg, along with her son, His Royal Highness Prince Francois of Luxembourg, arrived at the Contemporary Art Museum of Luxembourg to view the exhibition entitled Sense Machine by the late artist Michel Majerus. Upon their arrival, the Hereditary Grand Duchess and the Little Prince were warmly welcomed by the director of the museum and the curator of the exhibition, Ms. Bettina Steinbruch, and the father of the late artist, Mr. Jean Majerus. Per a press release, quote, throughout his short but prolific career, Michel Majerus captured the spirit of his time, decades marked by the expansion of globalized consumer culture and digital technology. His large-scale paintings and installations are characterized by the visual sampling and collage of an eclectic repertoire of imagery and text. Borrowing freely from art history, video games, advertising, and electronic music, his work resonates with a frenzy of images and information that pervades contemporary society through the ubiquity of the internet. End quote. Sense Machine will be open to the public until September 24th, 2023, at the Contemporary Art Museum of Luxembourg. And there you have it. Thank you all so much for joining me this afternoon. I will be back tomorrow on Saturday, September 16th, with all the latest royal news. Until then, I wish you all a wonderful Friday afternoon and a great weekend. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss a thing. Okay, again, have a wonderful afternoon, everyone, and I will see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.